shouldn't be crying, but I wouldn't sleep. I was losing so much weight. Brighton destroyed my friendships, took all my friends. I slept with your boyfriend because there was a court order in place that meant that if I'd seen Jack... Hello honeys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're just joining me now, then hi, my name is Imogen. Thank you so much for finding me. I don't know how you found me, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Please definitely stay. I've got so many more story times coming your way. So today, buckle up, get ready, because we've got another story time. This is story time part 4 of my ex-boyfriend, my first ever relationship, and I will link part 1, part 2, part 3 down in my description, so make sure you go and check that out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, join my family of Huns for 3 videos a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays, and I will stop talking. Well, actually, I can't stop talking because we're going to do a video, so shut up, Imogen, and let's get into it.
Angels, what a nightmare. Can you cope? Can you look at my yellow tongues? Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm so sorry. I had a shot of this turmeric stuff and I've got a yellow tongue. I'm the worst YouTuber in the world.
Quick disclaimer just before we begin, I really appreciate all of your DMs, all of your comments. You have no idea. Helping at least one of you for these videos means so much to me. But I feel like a lot of people have been like, you're married, like stop talking about your ex-boyfriends. I'm like, listen, I love my husband so much. My husband is the most perfect man in the world. He is perfect for me. But I want to show you guys that I've been through my fair share of bad relationships, things that have happened to me to get to where I am now. You know, I didn't just meet Spencer and then it was like, boom, we get married. You know, I have been and kissed some frogs to get to my prince. So I just wanted to show you guys that you can relate to me. We can all relate to each other. We're all in this together. We've all been through it. So yeah, let's get in with this video. So again, I left you on a cliffhanger and I'm probably going to leave you on a cliffhanger today, but I left you on the cliffhanger and I was like, something then happened. So basically after Toby had done what he did and cheated on me when we were seeing each other at the very beginning of the relationship, and I found out so deep into our relationship, it really messed with my head. It messed with all of my insecurities. It messed with all of my trust issues. Like, I had never properly felt this way before, like been cheated on and been so hurt. And it completely destroyed me as a person. It really did. I was just so lost. And I was insecure of his ex-girlfriend before anyway, because I was like, you've had a child together. You know, that's the best thing in the world that could ever happen to someone. So I was really insecure of that. Well, I was insecure more now because I was like, you wanted her whilst you wanted me. And he was like, listen, Imogen, please. So our relationship began to get a little bit bad because of that. I would bring it up in arguments. I was constantly saying, you know, you did this to me. We weren't sexually doing the things that we were doing because I was so, makes me feel sick to talk about because I think of my husband, I just think it's rank, but I'm just telling the full story. But we weren't doing certain things that we were doing because I was just so insecure of how he'd made me feel. We eventually started to feel better in our relationship. We were more comfortable with each other. Sorry, I just had this shot of turmeric. I'm really sorry. You're gonna be like, what is that yellow tongue? But basically, we really became a lot closer because we decided to put all the stuff in the past, and I guess because we weren't a secret anymore, it really helped us because we could go out, we were going on dates, and I think it brought us even closer. So then, as I told you in the last video, we ended up moving in together. We were really lucky to get a really nice place in Brighton from my auntie that was such affordable rent. We moved in and it seemed perfect. He told her he was moving in with me, so she just had to get used to it because, you know, this is the person he wanted to spend the rest of his life with, he said to her. So his child started coming round, and his child was an angel. What should we call his child? Jack. His little boy Jack was just perfect. He was such a little angel and he used to come round a lot. And I became very close with him in the sense that I was like a friend to him. I would look after him, I would read him stories before bed. You know, I wasn't a stepmom because I don't think I could be because I was so young, and also I couldn't have been a stepmom because his mum was so adamant she hated me. So it just made it so much harder. But I was very good at looking after him because I love children so much. I really love children so much, and one of the main reasons that I really loved at the time Toby was because I thought he was such an amazing dad, and seeing a man with a child is just such an amazing feeling because you think, oh, they're going to be an amazing dad to my children. So it was just a massive thing for me that I loved being around his child. I loved his child so much, you know, it was just such a nice family dynamic. But this is me being completely honest with you, but I feel really bad saying this, but I'm going to be completely honest with you, as I always have been in these story times. I loved his child, but I was so young myself. This was my first major relationship, and I don't know if anyone can relate to me in this, but please let me know down below if you're with someone with a child and you've ever felt like this, because I feel like it's normal. But I was so young, and I used to think to myself, if I had a child with Toby, and I wanted children with him, I wanted to have children with him, even though I don't know why I wanted to have children with him, because I look back now like, oh no, Imo. I wanted to have children with him first, and I used to think to myself, when I have a child with him, my child will already have a half brother. And I know that sounds stupid. That makes me sound awful, because I have a half sister and I love her like my own sister, because I don't even think of it that she's my half sister. And it wouldn't be like that. But at the time, I was so young, I couldn't work out, and I was jealous. I was jealous. That is me being completely honest. And, you know, it pains me to say that, because now I know I'd be completely different. Like, my best friend has a child, and she says when she meets someone, they're just going to have to get used to the fact she's got a child. And I'm like, back then, I should have had that mentality. Like, someone has a child, you are with them, you accept that, and you deal with that. But I was very much like, I was never horrible to the child, and I was never horrible to him about it. But in my head, I was just like, oh my God. You know, his child Jack kept coming round, and I think it's because I was the fun one and I wasn't the one that used to tell him off, but Jack really did love me. And take away his ex-girlfriend, take away my ex-boyfriend, that little boy is just an absolute angel, a real angel. And I can't wait to have children with Spencer, because I can't wait to have little angels. He kept coming round, and we had a spare room, and we decorated his room, and I bought all the stuff. I bought him Fireman Sam, like pajamas and pillowcases and stuff like that. It was becoming like a little unit. So then little boy Jack was a little boy, and he would run back to his mum, and he would tell his mum how much fun he's had, which I can understand, but I didn't understand at the time. His mum hated me. Can you imagine your little boy coming home to you, speaking about the girl you hate and telling you how much he loves her? Like, I would find that horrible. Like, if my child came back to me and was telling me how much he likes the girl I hated, I'd be like, it would be horrible. The mum did say a couple of things all the time to the little boy. So the little boy would come around and be like, my mummy says that you're a horrible person. And he started crying. And he was like, my mummy says you're horrible. And I was like, oh baby, no, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Like, mummies say things, it doesn't matter. Maybe mummy doesn't think that I'm very nice, but I am nice, so it's fine, as long as I'm nice to you. And he was like, no, mummy says you're horrible, you stole daddy from her. Like, all these things. And he used to cry about it and say, daddy, I love Imogen, I can't believe mummy doesn't like her. And he used to cry about it all the time, and it absolutely destroyed us. But it destroyed Toby, because Toby saw his future with me, and he was like, my ex-girlfriend is brainwashing my child to hate me. Now, at the time, I was like, she's horrible, she's disgusting for doing that. But on reflection, I guess I can't understand, because I've never been in that position, but I can empathise in the sense that now I look at it, I think she must have hated me because she felt like I destroyed her family unit, which I hadn't done. But I guess she blamed everything on me. So it was easy for her to try and infiltrate her son's head. Now, I can't imagine. I'm glad Jack was too young to probably ever remember any of this. Like, he probably doesn't even remember me, you know. But it's still sad to think that parents, unfortunately, in divorce or breakups, try and use their children as chess pieces in a game, and children aren't chess pieces. They're not chess pieces. They're not something to be played with. Anyway, it got progressively worse. Toby actually ended up saying to her, this has to stop. It's got to stop. And he said, you know, and he started having a go at her. And that's when, dun dun dun, she took Toby to court. It was horrible. He got told by his dad and his mum, because basically his dad and his mum were amazing. I really loved his mum and dad. I would go and see the mum all the time. I would sit there and we'd watch Strictly together, and we just had a lot of fun, me and the mum, and we'd play ball games, and I loved seeing the dad as well because he was so fun. The mum and dad acted as her mum and dad, because I don't want to talk about her childhood, but they acted as her parents because I don't think her parents were around, which made it even harder, because they loved their grandson probably more than they loved their son, if I'm honest, because they would always put their grandson and his ex-girlfriend before Toby. Toby was very much pushed to the back by his mum and dad because they wanted to appease, what should we call her? Because they wanted to appease Lily. We'll call her Lily. So they were really scared of Lily because Lily could essentially stop them all from seeing, and everyone was so scared that they weren't going to see their son or their grandson. Toby got taken to court. It was the most stressful couple of weeks. It was horrible to see the person that you loved at the time in absolute agony. You know, he was absolutely distraught, and I was still so young, but I was trying to understand it. And then, you know, it could have come between us, but it didn't. Him going to court did not come between us, even though the thing that came out of court was that he saw his child a lot less. It would have to be supervised access, because that meant she could be around him and she could be around his child. I have no idea how the court actually accepted this, because Toby was a very good dad. So I have no understanding of how the court could have allowed it. But so he got to see him once overnight every 2 weeks, but it had to be at his mum's. So his little boy could not come and stay with us anymore, and I was not allowed to see Jack. There was a court order in place that meant that if I'd seen Jack, he could have completely lost seeing his child. It made it really hard because certain nights a week I wouldn't see him, and it made it very difficult because of supervised access, he had to go around and see his child with Lily being there, which meant that all the rumours would always come out because she wanted to make my life a living hell. Imagine loving someone a lot and then hearing every single day that they are having sex with their ex-girlfriend, they've got a blowjob from their ex-girlfriend, they were slagging you off. And the thing is, I knew none of it was true because I knew that the whole time he was there, his child was awake. Like, his child wasn't asleep. So his child was going to see all of this. And also, I did actually trust him. I knew that he made that mistake at the very beginning of our relationship, but I did actually really grow to trust him because he really did love me. He really did love me. He'd break down and cry about how much he loved me and never wanted to lose me. And I don't know what he's like now, because I'll tell you at the end of this when we broke up, because he didn't really become the best person. Yeah, at the time, like, he would have done anything for me. I know he would have. So it was just really hard because I would just have to hear this. And obviously in my head, I trusted him, but there is always going to be that level of doubt that you get when someone says, oh, I slept with your boyfriend, because you'd always feel like I wasn't in that room. I was never there, and he could be gone for a couple of hours and I wouldn't know. So what he did was he actually ended up buying a new phone, a little tiny phone that, you know, one of those ones that we had when we were younger that had no picture messaging or anything like that. I think it was like a Siemens or something like that. It was a really rubbishy phone. But basically every single day for months, he would have abuse from her every day. Like, I hate you, I effing hate you, what you've done. She'd stir the pot, she'd message and be like, you need to tell Imogen what you've done, all these things. And he'd be like, this is actually evil. And he'd end up calling her and confronting her and be like, what is your problem? And then it would just get worse. Then she stopped him seeing his child, which was against court, so then they had to go back to the court because she ended up stopping him seeing his child. All of her friends were my friends. Did I tell you that one? Probably didn't. But all of my best friends, the one that set me up to get beaten up by her, she ended up taking all my best friends. My best friend from when I was like 11, she was like my best friend. She took her. They were all going on holidays together, like the girl who beat me up and my best friend. Like, she was in my old friendship group with my best friends. I found it so ludicrous. And I know she wouldn't tell them the truth. She'd tell them lies about how, you know, he doesn't want to see his kid, when actually he was fighting to see his child. He was fighting to see his child. It was really hard for Toby because she stopped him seeing his child. The time she would offer him for him to see his child would be a time when maybe we're going on holiday or something like that. She would make it so awkward and terrible for him. So he turned around and said, I'm not going to see my child, no matter how much I want to see my child. I'm not seeing my child when you choose, because this is not fair. The child has no stability. You're ruining my relationship with my child. I'm gonna go back to court. They went back to court and it actually ruled that Jack could be around me. He could come and stay round. Much to her disappointment, he got to come round and stay. And it got to the point where, I'm gonna be honest with you, in the mornings when Jack would wake up, he'd cry for me over his dad, and he'd want cuddles from me. I think little boys love a woman. Like, I know my little brother loves being around me and loves being around his mum. He loves round my mum too. His mum is my mum. But I know that my older brother and Hugo get on so well, but at night, Hugo, when he gets scared, he wants a woman. That's fine, that's normal. Little boys love that. My little sister does as well, to be fair. It's just that womanly touch. We'd end up taking Jack back to his mum's. Now, obviously I wouldn't go in or anything like that. I would wait downstairs by the flat outside, like far, far away. But you could see me from the balcony. When we would take Jack back, he would scream and cry and say he doesn't want to say goodbye. And this is the truth, 100%, because when we break up, I will tell you all about that and about how things happen with his child and stuff like that. But his child would cry for me and the mum would be screaming off the balcony, get in. And I know that when we'd leave that little boy, because he'd be crying about saying goodbye to me, she would fill his head with absolute shit just for him to hate me. And it was awful. It was awful. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of children that watch me, maybe young girls or maybe older people, older boys, young boys, you will know that when your parents broke up, it wasn't easy, because I know it wasn't. My parents broke up and, you know, unfortunately we were a bit of chess pieces in our parents' divorce, because it's such a hard thing when two people grow up and grow out of love and, you know, there's children involved. People who become bitter and upset about the divorce can try and taint the child against the other child. I know that's happened because I've witnessed it happen, but it was just sad that I was watching it happen with my boyfriend's child, because it just made it so much harder. Because then when Jack would come round, he'd tell us all sorts about what she'd tell him, like, don't go near her, she'll probably try and... She said some really evil thing, made me out to be a very evil person, like made up the most ludicrous rumours that went around Brighton. Like, I had no friends. I probably had one friend and that was it. I had no friends because she tainted so many people against me. Everyone was scared of her because she was quite feisty and she had really fiery friends, and I was just left with Toby, which was fine because we were really close anyway, but she just really tried to destroy my life, and that's why I hated Brighton, and that's why I couldn't wait to move to London, because she destroyed my life here. But now I'm back here with my husband, we're setting up a life together. I'm gonna buy a house next year. I've got to put that on the universe. I'm gonna buy a house next year, and I feel like I love Brighton so much, but I'm glad I moved away because of everything that happened. But she just destroyed my life in Brighton, destroyed my friendships, took all my friends. It was just really hard because I was in a relationship with a guy that his parents would choose his son over him, so it meant that I was so close with them, but then at the drop of a hat they dropped me for her because they were so scared they weren't going to be able to see their grandchild. And it was just so difficult. Like, I never forget this one time, Toby had gone round his mum's house to take his child round there, and I was up at my dad's, and I was writing a letter to him to drop down just because I'm cringy like that, but I wanted him to have a letter for the evening because I missed him. So I wrote him a little letter and I put it through the letterbox. She was there as I dropped it. I was with my older brother, he'll remember this, and I dropped it through the letterbox, and all of a sudden she's come out of the lift and she's been like, "You are going to try and see my son? What are you doing?" Screaming. She was reading the letter, she took a photo of it, she was laughing. I was on the other side of the glass, couldn't get in unless someone buzzed me in, and she just ripped it up in front of me. And I was like, this is my life. Like, this is my life. The boyfriend I'm with, his ex-girlfriend, who's his baby mama, will never like me. She'll never like me. And I know for a fact that even if we were together now, thank God we're not, but she would never have ever have approved of me, ever. And I would go out clubbing with Toby, but when I would go out clubbing with Toby, oh my goodness, all of his friends would be there and they'd be with her. Like, she infiltrated into his friendship group just to make us feel like we were so segregated from the world. I'm surprised we lasted as long as we did, actually, because it was so hard. It was so hard. I was anxious 24/7. I wouldn't sleep. I was losing so much weight because I was just anxious. Like, I'd eat loads, but I was living on stress. I was living on anxiety. Like, I was just so scared of the weekends when we'd see the child, when we'd have to drop him back, what would happen. It was hell. Like, the reason also, just quickly, he changed his phone number was because she'd send photos to his other phone. It was hell. I'm sorry about my yellow tongue. I feel really bad. It got to the point where we were becoming closer and closer and closer, and it got to the point where I had auditioned. I was so excited to go to London for my university. However, I was so deeply in love at the time, so I thought, I'll just quickly talk about love at the end of this. I got accepted into a stage school in London, which over 1,000 people apply to get into, and only 40 people got on my degree. And I got on. And I was so excited. I was so excited, and then it hit me. There was this song at the time that's called Ed Sheeran, Uni. You and I ended over uni, right? And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to move up to London and it's gonna be hell because we've got a flat here. And I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, we've got a flat together, but I'm gonna go to London and pay rent there. You're not gonna be able to afford the rent here on your own. I was torn. So I was like, what I'm gonna have to do is, I'm gonna have to drop out of uni. So then, I will tell you what happened then, but you'll be like, Imogen, what actually are you doing? Like, you will literally be like, Imogen, are you okay? Because I can't actually believe I did that for a boy. A boy. Not even my husband. I'd do anything for my husband, ever. I'd do anything for him. I'd give him my right arm if he needed it. But what I did was really stupid. So that is the cliffhanger that I'm going to leave you on today. I'm so sorry, I always leave you on cliffhangers, but trust me, you're going to want to know what I did because it was ridiculous, stupid, awful, rubbish. Just the most ridiculous decision I've ever made ever. So just quickly, what I wanted to say is, a lot of people message me and they're like, how did you know you didn't love him, and how do you know what real love is? And I think there is no real terminology of what real love is, because everyone has their own real love. I've never felt ever what I feel for Spencer now, and I know that when I was younger, love to me seemed very different. Love wasn't really unconditional. Love was very different to how I view it now. And the love you have when you're younger is so different to the love you feel when you're older. Like, love just progresses and changes, and I was very young in this relationship, and I think, if I'm honest, I didn't love him. I wanted him because I wanted to beat her. I'd been played against her so much. She made my life a living hell, and I felt like even if our relationship was awful, I was going to stay in it just because I did not want her to win. So I felt as though if I'd lose him, she would win, because he'd probably go back to her, but he didn't. It was just a really weird relationship. A really big learning curve for me. It made me go on to do some really stupid things, which I will explain in the next story time. I just wanted to clarify that, because the love that I feel for Spencer is real love for me. I love him wholeheartedly, unconditionally. I've never loved anything more than I love him in my life. Like, I just would do anything for him, and yeah, I love him so much. He is my whole world. I never thought I'd ever meet someone like him. So, oh, sorry, shouldn't be crying, but so yeah, I'm gonna stop crying and getting emotional. But thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for watching any of my videos. You have no idea how grateful I am for you guys. Honestly, without you guys, I wouldn't be where I am in my life now, and you've changed my whole life, and I love you, and I'll love you eternally, forever, for the rest of my life. I really hope that I'm helping some people with these videos, helping you to feel strong, helping you to understand what I've been through, to understand that you can get through whatever you're getting through, and you will get through it the other side, and you will find your Prince Charming. You will be happy again, I promise. And I will do more at the end of every story time. I want you to know, guys, that if you are in a relationship that you feel like you're not happy in, you don't have to be in it. It's not a game, it's not a competition. You don't have to be in it. Walk away. You are so much better off if you're in an abusive, toxic relationship, or just a relationship where you're not being treated the way you deserve to be treated. There are a million people out there, there are a million men, there are a million women out there for every single one of you, and I promise you that you have to take the plunge, because risks are rewarded, and you deserve the best, and life is too short. You could walk out on the road and get run over by a bus, and you would have lived your life being unhappy in a relationship that you're not happy in. I just want you to guys know, I want you to know that, guys, that you can do anything you put your mind to, and being single and being alone isn't scary. Trust me, I did it for 5 years. Okay, well, I'm gonna see you next Sunday. I cannot wait. I've got so many exciting videos coming up on Tuesday, something to do with a makeup counter. Ooh, and Thursday's video is really good as well. So I will see you on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because a lot of people watch my channel and they're not subscribed, and that's really sad. Anyway, I love you. Until next time, I'm gonna love you, and I'm gonna leave you. Bye. Bye. Also, I've had my trousers undone. Oh, you can't see. I've had my trousers undone this whole time because I'm a slob. Love you, bye.